Hello and welcome to the Human Instrument Mastery podcast, where you will learn how to crack the code of your human instrument and master the skill of freedom and prosperity. This podcast is especially for those of you who are ready to say yes to your heart's desires, to your dreams, to your unique self-expression that is seeking to come out into the light and create a beautiful impact in your life and in the life of those around you at whatever scale you feel called to do so. I am Shimrit Nativ. I am a mindset expert and a success and freedom mentor. I am a mom, I am a wife, I am a dog lover, and I'm a lover of life. I'm an entrepreneur and a musician, and I have built a business and a life that I fall in love with every single day, and so can you. And in this podcast, every single week, I will be sharing with you insights, tools, practices, and ways you can easily integrate into your life so you can develop and master this skill and this instrument. So let's dive in. Welcome to the Human Instrument Mastery podcast. In today's episode, we are going to talk about quantum leaps in business and in life. I want to start with reading to you a chapter from one of my most favorite books, You² by Dr. Pritchett. Quantum leap is a term taken from the vocabulary of the new physics, quantum physics, the science behind such technological breakthroughs as lasers, television, computers, space communication, and nuclear energy. Quantum physics is described as the most powerful science ever conceived of by human beings. It requires a major rethinking of such concepts as time and space and how the human consciousness operates. Quantum physics also has staggering implications regarding you, your potential, and the power of the mind. To put it simply, as human beings, we are going to have to reframe our ideas about the universe and how we fit into it. Fred Alan Wolf, in his award-winning book titled Taking the Quantum Leap, describes the term as the explosive jump that a particle of matter undergoes in moving from one place to another. In a figurative sense, taking the quantum leap means taking a risk, going off into uncharted territory with no guide to follow. Physicists studying quantum mechanics note that particles make these jumps without apparent effort and without covering all the bases between the starting and ending points. What Pritchett and Fred Alan Wolf are pointing to here is something I see every day, not just in physics, but in human performance, business, and transformation. The idea of a quantum leap is not about effort, nor about covering every step from A to Z. It's about shifting into a completely new state of being where the results you create look like they defy logic. In quantum physics, there is a principle called the observer effect. It tells us that particles don't even exist in one definite state until they are observed. The very act of looking, of paying attention, collapses the infinite possibilities into a single reality. This isn't just theory, it's a profound teaching for us as human beings. What you choose to observe, what you give your awareness to, becomes your reality. If you constantly observe lack, problems, and limitations, that's the universe you collapse into form. But if you choose to observe possibility, expansion, abundance, and solutions, you're literally shaping a different experience. A quantum leap happens when you change not just what you do, but what you observe. In my upcoming book, The Skill of Freedom, Crack the Code of the Human Instrument, I talk about how your mind, heart, and body are like an instrument that tunes into frequencies. A quantum leap happens when you change the frequency you're tuned into. It's not about hustling harder. It's about playing a completely different note and harmony than the one you've been playing so far. Just like in physics, the particle doesn't crawl its way across space. It jumps. In your life and business, you don't need to crawl through incremental steps. When you align with a higher vision, when you dare to observe yourself as already being the version who lives that reality, you can jump timelines. Neville Goddard wrote in his book, The Power of Awareness, "There is only one substance. This substance is consciousness. It is your imagination which forms this substance into concepts, which concepts are then manifested as conditions, circumstances, and physical objects." You see, the concept that you hold of yourself creates your reality. If not deliberately and consciously altered, Your self-image was created in your first years of life, and you still hold it till today. As an infant, your subconscious mind was wide open. Your brain operated in delta and then theta brainwaves, the same brainwaves your brain operates in when you are dreaming or when you are super relaxed, drowsy, or in a deep meditative or hypnotic state. As a child, you had to learn information and have it installed as a subconscious program so you'll be able to function as a human being in a physical environment. Your self-concept, the image that you hold of yourself, was programmed in there too, through verbal and nonverbal communication and concepts and ideas that were drilled into your subconscious mind from your environment. The concept or image that you hold, the one that was programmed into the operating system of your human instrument, is what forms the substance of consciousness into the reality of your life. To understand more deeply the idea of a quantum leap and the observer effect, I want to read another segment to you from another brilliant book, Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe writes, according to Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, we never know where the electron is going to appear in the electron cloud. Yet from nothing comes something. This is why quantum physics is so exciting and unpredictable. The electron is not always physical matter. Rather, it exists as energy or is the probability of a wave. It is only through the act of observation by an observer that it appears. Once an observer, mind, comes along and looks for it, the act of observation directs the energy and causes all the potential energy to collapse into an electron, matter. Thus, it manifests from a realm of infinite possibilities and unknown to a known. It becomes local in space and time. So what does this mean for you? It means that you must move your attention and focus it on a new concept. You, as the awareness or the observer, are causing the potential energy to manifest from the realm of infinite possibilities to a known fact in your life. If you want to change your facts or results, you must change your concept of yourself. You must assume yourself to be the person who thinks, acts, and have what you desire. As Neville says, the events which you observe are determined by the concept you have of yourself. If you change the concept of yourself, the events ahead of you in time are altered. An assumption is a certain motion of consciousness. This motion, like all motion, exercises influence on the surrounding substance, causing it to take the shape of, echo, and reflect the assumption. A change of fortune is a new direction and outlook, merely a change in arrangement of the same mind substance, consciousness. If you would change your life, you must begin at the very source with your own basic concept of self. This is again from the book, The Power of Awareness by Neville Goddard. So if we combine these two great resources, Neville Goddard and Dr. Joe Dispenza, and the observer effect, we can understand more deeply how the unified field, the quantum field, the realm of infinite possibilities is that one substance of consciousness. What quantum physics research with Heisenberg and Bond's theories shows us is that the mere observation, the awareness, is what makes that possibility, which exists as a frequency or a wave, to collapse into matter. The awareness, the conception, the attention you give to an idea or an assumption is what moves this one substance of consciousness and turns it into forms, conditions, and events in your life. As David Bohm said, in this flow, mind and matter are not separate substances. Rather, they are different aspects of one whole and unbroken movement. This is from his book, Wholeness and the Implicate Order. Your subconscious mind is one with the universal mind. Therefore, the concept or image that you hold of yourself and that is programmed into your subconscious is what forms the substance of consciousness into reality in your life. As Heisenberg stated, the atoms or elementary particles themselves are not real. They form a world of potentialities or possibilities rather than one of things or facts. The reality that you currently experience emotionally and physically is the possibility that you currently observe and accept. When you can observe a different possibility and make that new concept an assumption, and when you impress that onto your subconscious mind by the law of repetition and by autosuggestion and meditation, you can create a new program and observe a new reality. Just like your current subconscious program, your current concept of yourself and the current image that you hold was created by repetition, while your brain was operating in theta brain waves in the first 6-7 years of your life, so you can now, in the same manner, create a new image and observe this possibility, turning it into a fact. It takes practice. It is possible. Thomas Troward, in his book The Hidden Power, wrote, "Our control over things is part of the necessary order of the universe. The disorder we have met with in the past has resulted precisely from our never having attempted consciously to introduce this element of our personal control as part of the system. We may have taken a few steps on the way as yet, but they are in the right direction, and what we have to do now is to go on." So you see, creating a quantum leap in your life and in your business is not about grinding step by step or slowly pushing your way forward. It's about shifting your self-concept so completely that the reality around you recognizes in response. Just like the electron doesn't move gradually from one point to another, but rather it jumps. You can jump into a new reality when you choose to observe yourself differently, when you embody a new assumption of who you are. You see, the definition of the word assumption in the dictionary is, number one, to accept as true without proof or evidence. And number two, to take on power and responsibility. When you assume yourself as the one who has already succeeded, who has already created the quantum leap, the leap in results and in reality, then you take on the power and responsibility to act as that person without waiting for the proof and evidence outside of you to give you the security and validation to act. To create a quantum leap is to take a leap of faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, from the book of Hebrews. And Neville says, faith doesn't question, faith knows. So to have faith and act on faith is not to wait for evidence and to take the actions, even when they feel risky, even when they jerk you into insecurity, knowing that you are moving into the unknown where that possibility exists, and by doing so, you are collapsing it into physical reality. Your consciousness is the field where infinite possibilities exist, and the leap happens the moment you decide to hold a new image of yourself, repeat it until your subconscious accepts it, and act, and then watch as life begins to reflect it all back to you. That is the true substance of a quantum leap. I want you to take a moment today and ask yourself, what is the self-concept I've been unconsciously holding? And what new concept of myself would collapse into the reality I actually desire? And what are the actions that will take me there? And if they feel exciting and scary at the same time, that is perfect. That is exactly the frequency of growth and expansion of a quantum leap. You don't need to know every step from here to there. You only need to choose the new concept and begin to live from it. If you're ready to create a quantum leap in your own life and maybe also learn how to help others do the same, I would love to invite you to a free workshop where I'll teach you exactly this. So just send me a message on Instagram and I will send you the link to a free workshop and will support you along the way. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and sharing with you the next episode of the Human Instrument Mastery Podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.